Good morning. Let's talk about spot market trucking, shall we? Right after this. Check. Good morning. Good morning. How are you? I am fine. Pleasantries. Yes, good morning. It is Wednesday, January 10th, and Mother Nature is saying, yeah, bitches, it's a winter time. So we got a few things to talk about. We're going to show the weather a little bit, and then we're going to get into an article that was sent to me by CDN. I have not read it yet, but hey, let's read on the fly. We'll do that. Anyways, I'll let some people get in here. We've got 19 people in here. I appreciate every single one of you. We'll get in the comments, you know, the whole shebang, the whole thing, the whole deal. I uploaded a unique video to this channel. A lot of people don't realize there's a metal side of me. I don't like to talk just about trucking. I like to talk about other things. I got this really cool book, or cool set of books, actually. Actually, I've been kind of a book nerd here lately. I got this book, which I've been listening to on Audible as well, but I got the physical version because I just wanted it as reference. Then I got this book, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Now, there's another one called The 48 Laws of Power, which, you know, is a book that could be used for manipulation. But this one is Understanding Human Nature, which is kind of important when dealing with drivers, with dealing with your friends, dealing with people attacking you on YouTube. You know, you kind of have to know the human nature and what that entails and how to handle it. And once you get the gift of discernment, you're in good shape, and then you can kind of roll off a lot of stuff off the top of your head there. Let's see. So yeah, I've been going insane on books here lately. And then I think DIY and I are going to do a book report on the series that we've been reporting on. I don't know when that'll happen. He's a very busy person. He still drives his truck on occasion, so I think that's That's why he beats me on these books, because I physically read them and then he listens to them on Audible when he's driving. Well, of course, I'm not driving, so of course I don't have that ability. But I do chores every night at the house, and that's when I listen to the Audible. So I actually restarted my Audible again. I got like a $5 a month for a minute, and then it goes to regular price. And by that time, I'll have a couple other bills shaved off related to the business, so it will be good. I've always soak in the knowledge. YouTube Shorts is not a good way to soak up knowledge. Trust me on that. Anyways, I hope you got your coffee. I hope you're well. Yesterday, I know this is all important to you. I know you're hanging on every word. Sarcasm. Yesterday, I had a tooth pulled. So, Jeff was like, hey, we went live last night. Hey, join in. I'm like, no, number one, I was having dinner with the family. But number two, I didn't feel like talking. Like, I think my phone rang twice yesterday. I just hung up on him because I was in pain. So I didn't want to talk. And I had warned Jeff that I was seeing the dentist yesterday, so he didn't expect anything from me. But I almost didn't go live this morning. I almost wasn't in the mood. And then, I'd taken some ibuprofen, and then CDN gave me an article that we'll touch on, because the other hot topic in the news is the independent contractor laws that are getting ready to go through. And and as CDN said here, Jeff had a good live feed about that this morning or last night. I would like to know, before we all make assumptions of what's going on, and I'll get to the comments here in a minute, before we make assumptions of what's going to happen, I would like to know how it's affected trucking companies in California. Like, how has it affected Uber and all them? Uber and DoorDash and all that. Have they been affected by that? Like, how has the AB5 laws affected the California laws? California carriers. I want to know that. I haven't talked to a California carrier yet. And so here's how I look at it, because you can get lost in the minutia of what it means, what it's going to happen, and we're all speculating at this point. We're all speculating what's going to happen with trucking, what's going to happen to like lease purchases, like from Prime and Schneider and all that. We're all speculating how it's going to affect us. And that should be alarm number one. Alarm number one, it's so gray, it's so vague, that all we can do is assume. That's number one. Number two, the mega carriers that have the lobbyists that have been preparing for this for a long time, they're going to know the loopholes. They've done the footwork for you. I remember when I was at Schneider, they were very paranoid of that ruling. And so they were making sure that they were separating things, because, at that time FedEx had just gotten something going on there. And as far as like dealing with, the AB5 laws and all that, they were, Schneider was always ahead of the game. They started implementing collision mitigations on their trucks before, it's going to be mandated in the manufacturing world. Like, and that's like JB Hunt is so big that they create, instead of adapting to the environment, they create the environment with the whole rail stuff. And that's how powerful these big companies are. And so I would like to see their reaction to these things before all the small carriers need to be all worried about it, right? So, and TC Boggs says, I believe the Uber and Lyft company's got a special waiver for maybe 5 in California. Right. So if that's the case, how did they do that, right? Was it their influence? Did they have the right people? Is there something in their legal mumbo jumbo that allows them to be able to do that? Those are the things that the mega carriers are gonna figure out. And then you just model yourself after that. So a lot of this stuff about that new law, or I don't even know if it's a law, it's just a ruling, is gonna, it's gonna change dynamics for sure. And that's the part you have to pay attention. Also pay attention to the intention. So if they're going to tell all these trucking companies that their lease purchases aren't valid anymore, unless you word it a certain way, what's the intention of that? And that's what I mean. Trucking is changing day by day. Some things for the better, some things for the worse. And unless you adapt, you won't overcome. And that's just a point of it right there. And if you're willing to put in the work, if you're willing to put up the fight, then you'll make money. There was another part of the conversation last night on Jeff's channel about, is it worth it? Is it worth it to go through all this BS just to, for the title of owner-operator? Well, I mean, it depends on your mindset. Some people look at the entrepreneur lifestyle and go, man, that's what I want to do. And other people look at that like, holy crap, I would never do that. And so it's all about a mindset, and being an entrepreneur means that you put up with business dealings, you put up with the laws, you put up with the lack of security, you put up with a lot of BS. You're going to struggle, you're going to sacrifice. And for some reason, people think that, well, I'm a truck driver, I sacrifice anyways. Well, guess what? You're going to have to sacrifice more if you want to make it. And if you're not willing to put that sacrifice out there, then that's your prerogative. That's your deal. No one should judge you for that. And what I'm seeing is slowly the country is beating down the small business owner, whether it's in trucking, whether it's your strip mall down the road that gets looted every time someone's upset about somebody doing something. It was interesting. I was watching King of the Hill last night. And in this episode, Bobby has got this crush on this chick that's all like, she's a Karen. She's like, rah, rah, let's protest, And so they protested the soda machines, and they protested this. And so what happened is that they looked, this group of kids now, it's all riled up, looked to Bobby for guidance, like, okay, what do we do now? And he's like, let's do a walkout. So they do a walkout, and they're like, let's go downtown. So they go downtown, and then the students start looting and rioting and smashing windows and everything. Was like, whoa, this is not what I wanted. So he was able to manipulate the crowd over to where his dad worked, and his dad told him, hey, you're going to get arrested. You're going to have water cannons shot at you and stuff like that. And the kid's like, yeah, this isn't worth it. And they walked off. This episode was like 20 years ago. Now, I say that to show that human nature, will take over. But the intention is important. And so when you look at, the whole point of that story is it was basically predicting, was it predicting the future, or was it going off of things that have already happened? I think it's a little bit of both. It's predictable. You get a bunch of people together that are emotional. Eventually they forget what they're emotional about, and they just go into destruction mode. You can manipulate that crowd. And this is, so I look at the intention, because arguments, the arguments and the speculation, they're just echo chamber BS. And I get bored with that. You know, it doesn't solve anything. Like all of us, armchair quarterbacks, we have the solutions to fix things, right? All these people, people that watch sports are like, well, if they would do this and this, and then, put this person in and do this, and then if they would just do that, like, okay, great. You figured out a solution that's never going to happen. That's never going to be validated. They ain't going to call you. So it's wasted energy to me. It's like while everybody's arguing about this AB5 thing, I'm like, whatever. If it affects me, it affects me. Back when I had my truck and trailer, if I had to get my own authority, no big deal. Was it going to suck? Yeah. Now, here's where the danger is. If you have to get your own authority to get away from that, guess what? Brokers don't like working with new authorities right now. So that could be a problem. So you just have to be aware, but also pay attention to the people that are going to take care of things, that are like, okay, you know what? Maybe Prime, who's got thousands of lease purchase trucks, is going to be like, well, we're going to figure this out. And my guess is that 6 months ago, they were figuring it out. Just like Schneider was figuring out the AB5 thing in California was going to happen like 2 or 3 years before it happened. And they adjusted accordingly. So, all right, let's get to the comments, and then we'll go over the article that CDN sent me. Jose, good morning. A trucker named Tim. What's up, Tim? Good morning. Flatbed trucker. Good morning. Dennis Richardville. Happy New Year. Yes. So far, so good with the weather, right? Thor and Thunder Trucking. Good to see you. Open Road 3310. What's up? I'm going to call you Open Road from here on out. Oh, sir. Good morning. Thanks for your membership. Yeah, it's winter. It's 50 degrees this morning. Jose. Rubbing it in our faces, you Floridians. Good morning, Steve, from Fridge Temperatures. We're in the 20s here, but this weekend's supposed to get in the negative digits with wind chills of negative 20 to negative 30. So we're going to be joining here shortly. Let's see. Lance Calhoun, smash the like. Good morning, everyone, says Cheap Freight Hauler. Knowledge is important for growth. Absolutely. Like CDN has sent me a book, Never Split the Difference. That's been a good book. It's helped me. Dennis is never fun. That is correct. And I got another visit towards the end of this month. So, Shannon, good morning. SST, what's up? Thor and Thunder, currently riding as a trainer. It's a blast. I don't miss my training days at all. Music City Transport, good morning, folks. TC Box says true. Those companies just stopped offering lease purchase and 1099 work in California, but now it will be federal. And we'll see how that's handled, right? Good morning, Snorelord. Everyone, greetings from Fort Worth, heading home to Columbus. Trying to get away from the snowstorms. It's going to be kind of difficult for a minute, right? This is the same argument then as now. The only way for a 1099 to remain a business owner will be to obtain their own authority. Well, if that happens, there's going to be some definitely dynamic changes going on. And the insurance companies are going to get rich. And it's going to change. That might, if that happens, that will be like a nuclear bomb being set off in the trucking world. And if that's the case, I'll lose my channel. Because, I know a lot of people in the spot market that aren't willing to get their own authority. And, and then there are people that, I've talked to people that had their own authority that don't even run the spot market. They got into a shipper somehow and they were able to make a deal, and the shipper said, hey, if you get your own authority, you can run our freight for us. I've actually talked to these people. And but it will be interesting. It will definitely be interesting because most people can't afford the insurance for your own authority. So that's going to be definitely and it will kill hopefully kill some of these predatory lease purchase programs that don't do nothing for you except destroy your livelihood, except destroy your sanity, destroy your family, destroy your finances. But at the same time, the government dictating how and when you can make money, that should be scary to everybody. That should be scary. So, grind and pray. What's up? KB, Snorelord in chat. Good morning. All the emojis. Reminder, Uber Freight pay speed changes today. All loads pay within 30 days now. That's another thing that should be alarming. I believe Convoy did the same thing before they went out. And the minute that you stop seeing factoring companies factoring Uber, it's a wrap for Uber. So, Cascade, good morning. Mr. Sandman, are you back trucking? DIY Semi, trucking, boo. Boo. CDN says he is not. All the primes and the big oranges will have to be company drivers. Cascade, glad to see you back in the chats. The industry lost a great carrier and a driver. And drivers with their own authority will have to build fleets, I think. Well, no, that's the problem, is you can't build a fleet. Again, that's a storm that's coming that people should be aware of and prepare for. Now, the question was brought up, can it be enforced? And here's how it's going to be enforced. When it comes time to file your taxes, they're going to notice how it's done, right? That's how they figured that out. So, it's, that's why I have plans B, C, D, and E. It's just you got to bob and weave and move and run and jump and sometimes hide. So, Cascade Snorelord, quick reading of the 6 points in the Department of Labor. Looks like the same rules we operate under now. The question is, what will the small print be? Yeah, that's what I'd noticed too. That's what I've noticed as well. So, too much vague gray area. Of course, the carrier can build a fleet. They just need the capital to buy the equipment and staff to hire and train the driver. Yes, that's the other thing. Like I said, it's minutia right now, and it's all speculation until we figure out what Cascade says, what the small print will be. And the minute you see Prime or Schneider or someone get kind of an exemption like Uber and Lyft did in California, then you have to figure out what they're doing. So, all righty. Let's take a look at the weather real quick, and then we'll get into the C.H. Robinson article. That's very interesting. Let's see here. Oh, this is your weather map. A lot of mess going on. Kansas and Nebraska you're screwed, pretty much. Now, all of West Coast, all of the West, lots of storm warnings, blizzard warnings. I won't get into the details there. You can probably take a look at that yourself. And then there's another system that's going to be coming through the Midwest, through Missouri and Ohio, Indiana, and all that soon. And then we're going to have, let's see what this is. Wind chill advisories. And those wind chill advisories will grow. So like Mr. Cascade's probably cold right now. Out of Bismarck, you have wind chill advisory. That's the thing. Like yesterday, it was snowing pretty decent, but it never really accumulated a whole lot. But man, the wind was blowing like crazy. Every year we, my wife plastics the windows on the inside, and you can just see the plastic blow up like a balloon because of how drafty our old windows are. But anyways, all right, let's go to this C.H. Robinson article here. SST says, how do you get $1 million in trucking? Start with $2 million, right? That's very generous too. It will be enforced in the taxes, but if you're going to build a fleet, don't come to Florida. Clear and sunny around here this morning. Says cheap free hauler. All right. Okay. So this is from Freight Waves. Give them credit here. At C.H. Robinson, it's been a long, difficult trip. Company faces hard questions about relevance as business stays weak. On January 3rd, 2023, the transportation world awoke to the news that Bob Biesterfield, president and CEO of freight broker and 3PL giant C.H. Robinson Worldwide, had resigned his post. The company's stock, which had already dropped more than 50% from $120 a share in August, registered little immediate reaction to the Biesterfield abrupt departure. Analysts, however, were less forgiving, raising concerns about a leadership vacuum in the company's general direction. Almost to a person, they began lowering their 12-month price targets, with many dropping their estimates into the double-digit range. The ensuing 12 months proved those analysts right. Now, I had C.H. Robinson stock, and I got rid of it a couple of years ago because I saw it was a loser. In a rough trucking market with no clarity on a recovery plan, C.H. Robinson shares followed the path of least resistance, which was down. Shares descended into the high 70s in the fall before drifting up to the mid-high 80s, the level it trades at today. It took 6 months for the board and executive search committee to pick Biesterfield's successor. When it came, the new leader, an outsider with no C-suite experience and relatively modest transportation background, was not who many had expected. A year and a week since Biesterfield stepped down, the story has largely stayed the same. Robinson's North American truckload volumes, the core business of the company, continued to decline. C.H. Robinson's freight forwarding business, whose performance was so strong during the pandemic that the company considered selling it at a premium, has fallen back and is no longer on the block. Questions have been raised about the cost-effectiveness of its proprietary technology. Navisphere, especially when less expensive, equally functional, off-the-shelf alternatives exist. The company's costs have risen and remain misaligned with volume trends. Margin pressure continues almost unabated. Analysts are hard-pressed to identify trends that illustrate short to immediate-term improvement, especially with demand and pricing expected to remain weak at least through the first half of the year. We've talked about that. On the anniversary of Biesterfield's departure, Ken Hoekster of Bank of America Merrill Lynch published a note setting a 12-month price target of $80 a share, more than $7 a share below where shares traded on Tuesday. The question is whether C.H. Robinson problems are due to the punishing cycle of the current trucking market, or if the company faces a secular problem separate from industry cycles, namely, if it has lost relevance. There are approximately 18,000 brokers in the United States, and C.H. Robinson's volumes could likely be absorbed without much of a hiccup should the company slide in some form of long-term abyss. All of this is to the chagrin of C.H. Robinson's long-term shareholders who have relatively little to show for their investment over the past 15 years. Remember that part where I said I got rid of mine? On January 5th, 2009, as financial markets were mirrored in the depths of global financial crisis, the company shares closed at $49.29 per share. An expected close on Tuesday of slightly below $87 a share means that shares have gained, on a compounded basis, 3.88% a year, a dismal performance given how much the shares of competitors and the major equity indices have appreciated over time. C.H. Robinson shares currently pay a dividend of 2.79%. I don't think I'm going to read the rest of this. Hold on. Maybe I will. Mollifying abbreviated shareholders just when the issues on the plate of Dave Bozeman, who became president and CEO of the company at the end of June. Bozeman's hiring came despite concerns that 5 years of serving as vice president of Amazon Transportation Services, I did not know that, did not qualify him to run a $15 billion global enterprise, especially with Jim Barber on C.H. Robinson's board. Barber, who expressed interest in being CEO, had served as COO of UPS and had run UPS' vast international business. Let's see. So Bozeman has begun to remake the C-suite, starting with the new CFO to replace Mike Zechmeister, who will retire by the end of May if a successor hasn't been named by then. He is also pushing to improve productivity at the company's North American surface transportation unit, by far its biggest operation, by 15% in 2023 and 50% over the next 3 years. Improve productivity by 50% next 3 years. To do that, Bozeman City will embrace lean process strategies, uncommon among transport companies. Bozeman has created an office designed to support this company's strategic initiatives to be run by Jim Rittlinger, a lean process expert. Now, I'm going to pause here for a minute. I'm sorry if this is getting boring, but check this out. Anytime a company talks about lean manufacturing or lean processes, that is a bad news to the company itself. That means your C.H. Robinson rep that you use, his job is on the line. His or her job are on the line. And with their implementations of using AI and computer stuff, they're wanting to streamline all that. If I was a person working for C.H. Robinson, this article would make me nervous. Which they already are, because they've already had all these big layoffs. But get this. In a statement to FreightWaves, C.H. Robinson acknowledged that it could have done a better job at managing costs. During the pandemic-driven market upcycle, when it brought on a lot of people and boosted its IT spending, only to be saddled with excess expenses during the subsequent downturn. In other words, C.H. Robinson made the same damn mistake you did. They got sloppy with their finances when rates were super good. See? Human nature, right? And it blows my mind that maybe C.H. Robinson, which is a big company, made the same mistakes as that guy that went out of business last week because he did everything wrong. Interesting, right? It added in the statement that strategies and productivity improvements currently being implemented, combined with our expert people and strong customer value proposition, are putting the company in a better, more competitive position. That is a load of bull. That is a load of bull, because they're relying on the technology. You call on a C.H. Robinson load, let's say today's Wednesday and you're looking for a load for Friday, which, it's smart to book ahead, right? If you put in a bid and it's over a certain threshold, your C.H. Robinson agent rep cannot even get into the system to be able to give you the rate that you deserve until 24 hours before the load's due to be picked up. If you can even see the load, because they got a grading system now. There's different levels. How good's your carrier with C.H. Robinson? Oh, here's this load that you can't bid on. There you go. Now, they've always kind of done that in the background, but now they're doing it right there in your face, using the AI technology to deal with that. So your C.H. Robinson guy can't even make a decision. Like, he knows that you'll do the load. He knows that you're good for it. He knows that you're going to do a good on-time thing, right? But the computer says he can't. That's that lean processing. Bozeman had nothing to do with C.H. Robinson's subpar performance over the past decade and a half. For that, there are a number of explanations. Founded in 1905, Robinson spent 92 years as a private company before going public in 97. Not every deeply ingrained privately held culture is able to optimally adapt to unfamiliar rigors of the public markets. I've always contended that the worst thing they could have done was to go public, said Jason H. Sidey, analyst at investment firm Cowen and Company. Now, how many times have we heard that? Snyder, when they went public, they went to crap. Landstar, when they went public, they went to crap. A source with C.H. Robinson said the proliferation of asset-based brokerage divisions was part of the problem, but far from all of it. Pure play truckload brokerages such as TQL, Arrive Logistics, and Echo Global have been around for 10 years or more and have managed to compete with C.H. Robinson and grow their truckload volumes over the past 5 years, while Robinson's traffic has stagnated or declined, the source said. The rivals push C.H. Robinson core business begs the hardest question of all, the sources said. If you're not a truckload broker, then what are you doing? Part of the blame, the source says, lies with board governance. 4 of the company's 12 board members have served 10 years or more and must take some degree of responsibility for the company's underperformance, the source said. 2 board members were added in 2022 at the request of Ancora, which owns 2% of Robinson stock and has been pushing for changes within the enterprise. So essentially what it boils down to, and I'm going to oversimplify this like a caveman, okay? Hence the name. A bunch of people out of touch with what's going on are making decisions that's bringing the company down. And this whole too big to fail, that's what they all fall victim to. When you have a bunch of people that don't know anything about what's going on the ground level, that did not recognize that, look, when we were getting super high rates during the uptick, I knew that this was going to crash. I knew that this was going to be bad on the other end. I even made little mental predictions of who I knew was going to go out of business when it happened. So far, I've been right on a lot of them. Because that's the nature of the beast there. I mean, look at our government. You know, it goes from, is our government so out of touch with us that they're allowing these things to happen? Or are they intentionally making it happen for a new slate, for a new, you know, and here's the thing. So going back to the AB5 law, e-logs, cameras, all your tracking apps, these are not about safety. It's about compliance. It's about monitoring. Because we've all said as truck drivers, hey, we're the lifeline of the country. And when you look at these other countries where the farmers are protesting and the truck drivers are protesting, they definitely don't want that going on here. This is something I learned like 10 years ago. That with all these changes that's happening in the trucking world, it's about control. That's why they're pushing for the automated trucks, one of the reasons. That's why they're pushing for, think about this. If you have an automated transmission, it's easier to put someone in that truck with very little experience. Makes it easier, right? Turnover rates allow, you got a constant stream of new people coming in that don't know anything about anything. Those people can be lied to and controlled. Give them just enough money to survive. Boom, they're good to go. Make them lifelong truck drivers where they have no other skills. Now they're trapped. How many of you drivers are still driving because you literally don't know what else you can do? Right? But it's about control. They want to control the lifeline of the country. They don't want some big revolt to happen. And it's going to get to the point where they can have kill switches on these trucks. All right. Let me get to the comments here. Pull up Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and show how the temps drop daily, and Saturday is very cold. I was watching that on Weather Nation, but now we're off topic, so we'll get back to that. Be honest with yourself about why government proposals scare you. Then you'll have a roadmap on things to address so you're never afraid again. There you go, CB. I love that. That's true. It's like when this AB5 thing was going on, I was like, well, I'll just get my own authority. No big deal. Now that would freak me out a little bit more. Not freak out, but it would make me concerned a little bit more. Why? Because of how the brokers are treating new authorities. Dave Weathers, good morning. Cold and 3 inches of snow, but we have a bunch of record highs throughout the winter so far. Cold, cloudy, Kansas, yep. Keep lowering their rates. It's gotten too low to haul loads for them. I'm seeing that as well on some things, but other things I've been able to get a decent rate. But a lot of times, CH was the only one that had a load that I needed. Like, I had to get my truck to Phoenix. CH Robinson had that particular load, and it worked well. In my lifetime, mood abandoned, U.S. industry gutted, major cities neglected, stagnant wages for nearly 3 decades. Yes, if I worked at CH Robinson's to CDN, I would be putting my resume out and seeking planning B, right? Plan B. Cascade says lean processes means the CFO is going to be running the show until the margins change. Yep. Food Mooch, what's up? I'm always going to call you Food Mooch. I suspect the C.H. Robinson during the good days was similar to the scene of Wolves on Wall Street. Yes, probably. C.H., Surge, Convoy, and Uber have all overinvested in tech, and now they have to pay the piper. Well, not only did they invest in tech, but they lost their human connection, which is what this article says, that the people that are on the board have been there a minute, and they've lost touch with what has built that company. Just the same with trucking. How many trucking companies you guys know, past, present, and future, that the kids take over the trucking company and run it to the ground? Right? It's the same thing. Welcome back says 23 was a good year to quit driving because of all the changes coming and only going to get worse for the industry overall. Public companies are essentially employees of shareholders. Yes, that is true, CDN. Hilarious. The person who overspent quits and the new regime blames the board of directors who didn't do the spending. The circling firing squad has assembled. Yep. If you own a company that goes public, you're in essence selling off to the board of directors and lose the control lead of the company. Yes. They are intentionally making it difficult so they can control the prices and do away with one truck operations. Bingo, Jose, bingo. Right there. David Edwards says, now it's more important to secure those contracts so you don't have to deal with AI. Well, guess what? The shippers are going to use AI pricing. Now, your little mom and pop places, hey, I've got loads of, feed, grain, that need to be moved twice a week from Springfield to Tulsa. Those kind of deals, yeah. And one of the arguments or one of the discussions last night on Jeff's channel was the educating of shippers on what it costs to run a truck. And it's the broker's job to... let me rephrase that before I have all the brokers attack me. It is the person serving the customer's job to educate the customer on what their costs are. Like if someone says, hey, if I go up to a dude and say, hey, how much to roof my house? They're going to tell me the rate. right? But if I go, no, I want it done for $1,000, they're gonna be like, we don't even, you don't even have that in materials. That person will educate me on why I can't get my house re-roofed for $1,000, right? Well, it's the same thing. Now, last I saw that the average, according to some big corporation, it was $225 a mile to run a truck. So, but yet, how often are you finding loads above $2 a mile in the van world? Well, yeah, if you want to go to Denver, you want to go to Maine, if you want to go to Miami, right? A factory in Denver can get away with cheaper shipping rates than a factory in Columbus, Ohio. Because of how the market falls. Because the broker will sit there and tell the shipper, hey, man, you got a lot of competition here, so we're going to need a higher rate. It doesn't make any sense, says cents per mile, that the country follows the governing rules set by a failing state. It blows my mind, right? So that tells me it's intentional. It doesn't make any... Okay. Wrote it twice. I'm not driving anymore. I'm operating heavy equipment. I used to like trucking. Always good to have more than one skill. Yes, I agree with that. And I have a couple. Not much, but I have a couple. But I'm gonna ride this wave, see what happens. And so when I deal with the minutia of people can't even do their check calls, or people can't even, don't even like track their costs, or they're overextending themselves, or they're wiping out their own credit. Like, there is a bigger monster you're going to have to fight versus the creature in front of you. And that's kind of what's frustrated me here in the last, 6 months, is I'm seeing these bigger picture things that's almost got me paralyzed. Like, I'm sitting there like to a fault. Like wow, all these bigger things. What's the point? What's the point of building this? But I trudge through it because I still got to have hope. I still got to believe. And then I get people that can't even get out of their own way. It's like, man, if you can't get out of your own way, this monster is going to stomp on you and crush you. You are dead man walking. Cascade says, but the AI pricing is at or below cost in the industry right now. That tells me the powers that be want to price the small companies out. That's true. However, it's more than that. It's about lowering the prices. There was FreightWaves did a video of the guy from Shaw Enterprises and how he's in cahoots with JB Hunt to lower their shipping rates by another 10%. You guys got to understand that Procter & Gamble and Niagara Water and Walmart and Dollar General, their only goal is to get rates down as low as humanly possible. It's like going to Amazon and going, oh, there's 3 versions of shipping here. I can get the free shipping if I get Amazon Prime, which costs me monthly, or I can get the 3-day or the 5-day or the next day. And most of the time, if you're not in a hurry for that product, you're going to pick the lowest shipping rate, correct? So imagine you're Walmart and you need 500 loads of Niagara Water. It's all pen and paper. It's all numbers on a screen. And the brokers have to balance the line of what's doable and what's not, and educate their customer. That's where the specialized thing comes in. Specialized, you can, like Eric last night in Jeff Speed talked about how he has to educate his customers on what it truly costs to if you call me and say, hey, Steve, I've got a load that goes from A to B, how much would you charge? $5,000. Why the hell does it cost $5,000? And it would be my job to tell them why. And if it was unreasonable, they'd be like, all right, dude, see you later. You're high, whatever, But if you go up to, but if Walmart goes to a trucking company, go, hey, I need this load of Niagara water moved for 100 miles, and you go, well, I'll do it for $50. Boom, they're going to take that $50. They're going to go with that. Now, if you fail to deliver, then yeah, they're going to be like, okay, well, that was a bad idea. But that's just, again, human nature. That's just how it is. It's not that they want to price the small companies out. Is that the small companies can absorb the lower costs. A while back I did a video about lease purchase, and I used a company that was charging $1,500 a week for a truck. And I did the numbers of how that saved like millions of dollars over the course of the lifespan of the truck if you had like 20 of these trucks. Right? So that's one way to make money. Let's say French's Mustard calls me here in Springfield and goes, hey, I've got 10 loads a week, or 10 loads a day that you can move. If you can get some company trucks, or if you can just get me trucks and move these loads for me. And so I go out and I get a big ass loan for 10 trucks. I put drivers in them. Not that easy, but let's say I'm able to do that. But then I convince every single driver, hey, here's this nice new shiny truck. You're going to pay the maintenance. It'll have a warranty. It'll be okay. But you're going to pay for the fuel. You're going to make the truck payment. But you'll be able to move this freight. Well, now my truck payment's made. All the expenses to that truck are paid by the driver. And if I can do that for 10 trucks, as long as I have freight to help them move, how much money am I really out? You don't think I would pad that a little bit to make some profit for the incidentals, like going the repo of the truck or the insurance rate increase if one of them wrecks? Think about that. And that's what this AB5 law is supposed to but potentially eliminate. Now, Snyder and Prime and KLM and Swift and all these, they could absorb the cost. They're not getting the trucks for $200,000. Trust me on that. And so it's not that they're pricing the small companies out. The small companies can't absorb the prices. If you're a new authority with no fuel card, no fuel discount, with the truck with no warranty, you're kind of up the creek there. That person cannot take a $10,000 turbo, whereas Schneider, well, there's 18 trucks to take place of that one. No big deal. We're all seat belted into this roller coaster ride with the government's hand on the throttle. Enjoy the ride. There you go. It's the reason I can hire owner-operators because of the government bull and guys thinking that quitting a carrier and leasing on to another will make them more money. I tell them I can't hire. As a critic of Sage, Eric was composed and well-spoken on Jeff's live feed. Yes, he was. Randy says he's late, as usual. Toga, what's up? But how much could you make on each truck? Well, I mean, if they're paying all the bills, doesn't matter. I'm getting the load moved for a rate, right? I see WUSE choice carriers from California filed for Chapter 7. They owed $1.3 million on 20 Freightliner. If every carrier had to be 100% asset based, would be a huge exit of carriers and rates up. This is true. This is true. Oh, wise carriers. Okay. But, I mean, look, the bottom line is this. If this law that's coming out puts fear into you, then you need to recognize where that fear comes from and have a plan in place just in case your fears come true. It's like with anything in life. And just know that C.H. Robinson's even struggling. But, you know, is it the market or is it how they handled the market of why they're having a long, difficult trip? Drama much, right? The trucking industry is changing. Yellow found that out. And what did they do? They buried that. They buried that feeling. They buried that instinct. And all the guys that they lost touch with what was really going on. And that's the important part. If you want the upside of a free market, you got to be ready for the savagery of it as well. Be an insatiable predator or prepare to be prey. There you go. CB is pretty common sense. And I imagine if I met this dude that he and I would get along and that you know, he's a very chill person because he's not worried about all the minutia, all the different small things, right? Mega carriers act like they are the answer to everything, yet they only haul about 5% of the total available load. Sounds like a campaign of misinformation, just like the driver shortage. Well, that dynamic's going to change soon as well. But no, you're absolutely right. That's the thing. That's the thing I've told people. Well, it's the mega carriers doing this. It's the mega carriers doing that. Well, I mean, mega carriers can handle a lot of the small minutia a lot better than a small carrier. However, they're only 5% of the total available loads. But when you see the moves that JB Hunt's making, you know, here's the thing. They're a small percentage, but yet they're the hugest, is that even a word? They're the largest influencer with the ATA and all that. They're better at playing the game than most people. They got pencil pushers and legal teams and that know the loopholes, that know the shortcuts. They buy in bulk, so they get the trucks at a cheaper price. They're the reason why you might have a part shortage, why the TA doesn't have your Freightliner water pump, but yet Schneider's got all they need, right? And all I know is that, look, how it's all going to play out is it remains to be seen. I'm not making any predictions. The only prediction I will make is that the dynamics of what you know is trucking is changing, and it's changing rapidly. Sometimes, like C.H. Robinson, it's self-induced, but other times it's just a victim of the roller coaster. But other times, most of the time, it's the person within themselves. I mean, that's just my thought. That's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. You know, I mean, I'm of the firm belief that the republic's been lost for a while. But, you know, but you can't give up hope, right? CB, that's assuming we still have free markets and not manipulated public-private partners controlling the markets. Well, that's already here. Most of the people I know that's making really good money in trucking right now, it's because they're either supplying the shovels and the pickaxes or they're in specialized freight. If you're van, reefer, or flatbed, you're at the mercy of the market. So if you don't know how the market is controlled and manipulated, then you can't figure out the formula, then you're struggling right now. It's as simple as that. And if you lose touch with reality, like C.H. Robinson, you're definitely struggling. Whether you're a one-truck operation or a big billion-dollar corporation like C.H. Robinson, everybody's struggling. So who's got a better chance at survival? The people that are in the know, the people that know what to expect, where things are going. And when you see a decision made like the AB5 thing, what's the intention of that? And how do I adapt to that? Because you ain't going to stop it. You know, so instead of sitting there at protests talking about, oh, we need broker transparency, I'm going to park my truck outside of the White House, blah, 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 blah. Instead of doing that, figure out how, instead of trying to change the game, you have to figure out how to play the game. It's as simple as that. And so adapt, overcome, you know, instead of, you know, if you truly are dedicated to surviving this, then you're gonna get rid of all external distractions. You're gonna focus on what can you do. Keep your eyes open. I saw this really cool video. So, let's say, I'll ask you, how many red trucks did you see today? And you'd be like, oh, I know I saw some, but I wasn't paying attention, right? But if I go, well, if you can remember each truck, I'll give you $50 for each truck. You'll be like, wow, crap, I should have been paying attention. In other words, when you're looking for it, opportunity will arrive. When you're looking for it, you know, so the next time you're out driving, like, oh, there's this red truck. This, okay, 50, 100, 150, 200, right? You're going to pay attention. You're going to get dedicated to it, right? Well, it's the same thing with opportunity. And that's why you have to look at it. But just know that you can't control the game because they're taking more control out of your wheelhouse. Oh my, the hugest word gonna stick in my mind now. Well, good deal, Toga. I'm glad I could help you out there. I'm here now. Let's really get this party started. Kansas City, Missouri, overnight tonight. The company that's making all the money in trucking right now is Ritchie Brothers. Josh, thank you for your membership. Appreciate it. I'm spending my profits on repair shop equipment and machines so I have a backup and side hustle. There you go. There you go. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, you hear the cat. The cat is sad because we don't let him out anymore. And even if we did, it was super cold and it's snowing outside. So, or snowy. It's sunny out, but there's snow on the ground. I was asked if I wanted money to grow my company because of my number from 2 years ago. So I told them how much I need and why and to put people to work. And they were like, we did not know it was that bad. Right? Scott V, that's right, Snorelord. Opportunities come through chaos. There you go. That's what the mega carriers do. That's what your successful companies have been around. Think about all the trucking companies have been around for a long time, whether they're big or small. That's what they do. Look at the history of UPS. Look at the history of Schneider. Started from 1 and 2 truck companies as 1 and 2 truck companies. How did they, the rates that weren't always really big, right? Is it safe to become an owner-operator right now? That is a loaded question, Kiko. And something that we can't really get into right now. It's never safe to become an owner-operator. Never has been. I don't care if the rates were $5 a mile for all miles. It is not safe to become an owner-operator because it could change instantly like that. If you want safety, being an entrepreneur is not it. So there's always a risk. As far as right now, I plan on doing a video about questions you should ask yourself before you become an owner-operator. And hopefully the algorithms will tap into where that video gets out a little bit. And because I think it's important for people to ask these questions before they start signing the dotted lines on a $200,000 piece of equipment. So, Pam, good morning. Snorelord's cat literally sounds like speaking. Clever cat, though. Okay, is it a good idea? Again, it's the same question. And I will answer that in a separate video because, again, it depends on you. It depends on the person. It depends on the platform. It depends on your expenses. It depends on your credit. It depends on what you plan on doing. It depends on what you plan to do. It's a loaded question, and I will answer that loaded question with a longer video dedicated to that. CDN says if you look at closures from 2020 to 23, either too fast of growth or they were long-term, made a shift and caused a failure. You should have a panel of experts to discuss that question about becoming owner-operator in 2024. Can you put a third-party warranty on an auction truck? That depends on the third-party warranty. So in order to do a third-party warranty, they're going to want to dyno the truck. And it's going to have to pass certain qualifications. And it's as simple as that. And so you would have to contact that third-party warranty and then say, hey, what are your qualifications if I bring you a truck? So Jose says, no. Without risk, there is no reward. And that's true. That is absolutely true. So let's get rid of that. Guys, we didn't go over the 123 load board today, but 48065 if you want to check out the 123 load board for free for 30 days. That's my code. If you want to support the channel, here's a way to do it. There's all the info you need. I appreciate everybody that's come in and added this to this discussion. Look, at the end of the day, it's all on you. The government's not going to save you. Lottery's not going to save you. The market is not going to save you. Now, fuel is going down. That's going to help a little bit. But just know that if the market swings back up, guess what else is going to go up? Everything else. So it's about inflation. It's about how much money you save. It's about how much you get on the net side. That's the important part. What good's grossing $1 million if you only get to keep 10,000 of it? Right? You're just in a different tax bracket now. So with that being said, thanks for watching. Strength for today. Hope for tomorrow. We'll see you Friday. Don't overthink it. I know that we discuss a lot of minutia and a lot of, but here's the deal. You just got to keep on keeping on. Hard work, but smarter work works as well. Works better. And yeah, we'll get through it. You'll be all right. Just get out of your own way and recognize opportunity when it comes along. Peace.